Ministry says it is irrational to state that GERD will affect 20 million people in Sudan. And IGAD launches milestone project for a regional cancer center of excellence in Addis Ababa. Hello and welcome to Addis News Hour. With the news, I'm Shifarao Lako. Do stay with us. Now, there have been concerns from Sudan on the impacts of the GERD to the country. However, the Sudanese government and politicians, as well as media, were reporting about the multifaceted benefits of Ethiopian dam to Sudan. In an exclusive interview with ETV Language, Ethiopian Water, Irrigation and Energy Minister says it is irrational to say GERD will affect 20 million people in Sudan. The GERD project will instead help Sudan and its people gain far more because the Ethiopian dam is being built with the latest possible designs and state-of-the-art techs in dam construction. The minister also mentioned Sudan will benefit more economic gains than Ethiopia from the GERD.
It is the safest dam you can find in the Nile Basin, which means there is nothing to worry about the Sudanese people. We don't want any harm to occur as a result of dam safety. The construction procedure and the design standard is the most modern one. It is following roller compacted concrete dam, 3 spillways to discharge flood. In fact, this dam is a real safeguard for Sudanese people, as well as Egyptians. How it does, just remember the last year flood that has devastated actually Khartoum and the river corridor of the Nile in Sudan, which means people died, a lot of livelihood was affected, socioeconomy was devastated. Because of presence of GERD in future, nothing will happen, nothing like that will happen again to our Sudanese brothers and sisters. In many facets, then there are other multiple benefits. For every dollar Ethiopia gains out of electricity generation, Sudan gets $2 to $3 benefits, much higher than Ethiopia's benefits.
Regarding the binding agreement, Egypt and Sudan are constantly demanding Ethiopia to sign. The minister stated that Ethiopia should not be hand-twisted, but should abide by any international law of transboundary river. Take a listen.
So on the issue of this agreements, binding agreement and so on, Ethiopia will be accountable for whatever it signs for, but Ethiopia cannot be arm-twisted as well, risking its future development interests. Everybody has got interest. We believe in equitable and reasonable utilization without causing significant harm. However, the contrary of saying all the water belongs to the 2 downstream countries is not proper. It doesn't follow any international law. There is no such international law which allocates the whole water to only the downstream countries. So I think with Grand Ethiopia Renaissance Dam, everybody prospers, everybody will benefit, will reap the benefit. On my side, I have 65 million people without access to electricity.
The minister also explains the dam is instrumental for swift economic transformation in the whole region.
We are, with Sudan, we are already interconnected. We are supplying right now up to 300 megawatt. There are variabilities, but since we have established an interconnection system, with Djibouti, we have already interconnection. With Kenya, we are completing a 2,000 megawatt energy highway which together we have invested about $1.3 billion. This is very huge investment. This is going to take energy between the two countries, exchange energy, but go beyond to connect to Tanzania or Uganda or Rwanda, wherever. In future, we have to interconnect to the South Sudan, to Eritrea, to Somalia, increase the capacity to Sudan. So, as I have said, it's not only to transmit energy generated in Ethiopia, but also energy generated in the other end can be transmitted inwards, So the flow of energy is dependent on when you generate the energy, at what cost, and which one is most advantageous for a particular nation. It's also a real opportunity to develop our East Africa region because our energy system need to be interconnected.
Ethiopia calls upon members of the United Nations Security Council to urge Egypt and Sudan to return to the tripartite negotiations on the first filling and annual operation of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam and respect the AU-led process. In a letter addressed to the current president of the UNSC on the 16th of April 2021, Ethiopia's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Dammaqe Mekonnen recalled the AU-led process has enjoyed the full support of the UN Security Council on the basis of the principles of complementary and in the spirit of finding African solutions to African problems. However, Egypt and Sudan are not negotiating in good faith and are not ready to make the necessary concessions to reach a win-win outcome, he said. Dammaqe further stated the two countries chose to scuttle the negotiation, internationalizing the issue to exert undue pressure on Ethiopia. The letter affirmed Ethiopia's unwavering commitment and trust over the AU-led tripartite negotiation and expressed the country's gratitude for the genuine efforts of South Africa and now the Democratic Republic of Congo to address the matter in the spirit of African solutions for African problems. The letter also recalled Ethiopia's initiative on data exchange before the commencement of the second filling of the dam in the upcoming rainy season, which the two downstream countries declined. The insistence by the two countries to maintain the unjust status quo and foreclose Ethiopia's water use upstream of the GERD under the pretext of concluding a binding comprehensive agreement is unacceptable, said the letter. The letter also underlined Ethiopia's firm commitment to the Declaration of Principle that was signed by the leaders of the three countries and noted that Egypt and Sudan are reneging their commitment that they have entered under the DOP. The letter declared that any attempt to pressure Ethiopia and sideline the AU-led process will further undermine trust and confidence among the three countries. The State Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Burtukan Ayano, says active support of Ethiopians and people of Ethiopian origin is crucial to ensure aspirations of the country. She made the remark during a discussion that her delegation had held with Ethiopians living in New York and its environs. Currently, Ethiopia is poised of holding successful election and pursuing second filling of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Demis Mokrer has more on that from Foreign Affairs Ministry's file.
State Minister of Foreign Affairs Ambassador Burtukan Ayano said the support of Ethiopians and people of Ethiopian descent is crucial to the success of the upcoming elections and the second filling of a Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, as well as the government's effort to ensure peace and stability. She said the organized citizen-centered diplomacy of Ethiopians and the people of Ethiopian descent abroad is important to correct misinformation and defamation campaigns against the nation and the government, which is timely and should be further strengthened. The State Minister made the remarks during a discussion that her delegation had held with Ethiopians living in New York and its environs. On the occasion, associations such as the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam Task Force, Hope for Ethiopia in New York, and Wagalogan have detailed their fundraising and public diplomacy activities. The Director General of the Ethiopian Diaspora Agency, Salamawit Dawit, on her part thanked the associations for their efforts in supporting Ethiopia's cause in fundraising, public diplomacy and advocacy. Participants also discussed current national issues, the situation of Ethiopians in the Middle East and ways to easily and regularly get access to crucial information on national matters. In delivering closing remarks, permanent representative of Ethiopia to the United Nations, Ambassador Taye Asqaselase commended what has been done so far and called on Ethiopians to continue their support to safeguard the country's national interests.
Ethiopia is the source of the Blue Nile and contributes over 85% of the Nile's stream flow. To this day, Egypt and Sudan are using 100% of the water, sticking to their 1959 colonial agreement between them. Not being signatories, Ethiopia and other upstream states do not recognize this agreement. Ethiopia is at the eve of completing the Great Renaissance Dam. Costing over $5 billion that is being paid by ordinary Ethiopians. This dam will generate 5.1 gigawatt of power, and it is a non-consumptive, eco-friendly, existential necessity to millions. The three countries have been in dispute over the construction, filling and operation of this dam. Even thought this dam provides major benefits to Sudan and Egypt in terms of reducing evaporation loss, silt, sedimentation and unexpected flood. This dam is not just about generating power. It is a matter of survival for millions of Ethiopians who deserve a dignified life as their Egyptian counterparts.
Still staying on Ethiopia's flagship project. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam has been touted from the very beginning as a way for Ethiopia to pick up the pace of its development. In this connection, a scholar says Ethiopia's developmental move through building the Grand Renaissance Dam has become outlandish to the Egyptians as they were utilizing the water resources solely. Kasam Chane has the following report.
Besides the unfair stances, Egyptian leaders from the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam dispute and stark hyper-nationalist terms and send belligerent tweets and politicians in Cairo call for sabotaging the dam. On the other hand, for thousands of years, Ethiopians have not used the natural resource of the Nile, unlike their neighbors in the north. Since 2011, when Ethiopia began to build Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam across the river's largest tributary, the Blue Nile, Egypt openly began to show its unreasonable concerns. In relation to this, scholars say, however, dams have been a part of the economic development model of almost all nations. According to Daniel, at some stage of their development, most countries with water resources have built dams for energy, irrigation, and drinking water, stressing Ethiopia's full freedom and right in order to eradicate poverty.
The Nile is Egypt, and Egypt is the Nile, really. And throughout their history, they have been the sole exploiters of the resources of the Nile. What's new now is Ethiopia is building a dam with the purpose of just generating hydroelectric power and hopefully some agricultural field cultivation. But this is something new for the Egyptians. And what they are saying is that Ethiopia is blocking the water. Here is the difference. The way they are presenting the case is that the flow of the waters is going to be diminished, or it's not going to be enough for them to sustain the life that they have been getting from the waters of the Nile.
He added that every country has its own priorities. Sudan needs the safety of the dam, while Egypt cares more about cooperation during periods of drought, and Ethiopia wants to generate electricity quickly.
But here is the other way. Ethiopia needs to work a lot. The way they started to use the Nile is something new, and they have to have really a lot of explaining into it. This is a natural resources, Ethiopian natural resource, and the Ethiopians have to be able to exploit that. And then after really the waters have worked, they have been doing their best, which is really makes sense to most, but some which are really on the Egyptian side, they do not see anything to happen on the water, any impact to be seen or done by the Ethiopian side. But it will take some time, otherwise really both stakeholders, the Ethiopians as well as the Egyptians, they need to do their homework to explain to the world, whether the world stays beside Ethiopia or whether the world stays beside Egypt. That doesn't matter. This is really like a matter of survival, a matter of growing economically, a matter of feeding the people of Ethiopia, which is really like growing up to 100 million now, and then a matter of really supplying with the electric power.
It was noted that the dam would be the largest hydroelectric plant in Africa, guaranteeing a steady supply of electricity for Ethiopia and for export.
Now, in another development, an Ethiopian activist based in Washington, D.C. says Ethiopia shall use its natural resources, including the Abai River, for whatever purposes, not just hydropower. The activist Razana Habte underscores that they have started to intimidate and take advantage of Ethiopia's internal differences when they fail to ensure their selfish interest of controlling the Nile River through negotiations. Emmanuel Jorge reports.
Talking to ETV English on the GERD, an Ethiopian political activist, Razana Habte, stated that Ethiopia has to use all its natural resources, including the Abai River, in many ways to accelerate its economic growth.
Ethiopia have to use Abai for so many reasons, not for electric only. She might need it for agriculture because Ethiopia have 120 million people. You know, Ethiopia doesn't stay like the way she is now. Have to be, independent regarding economic situation in its own territory.
He pointed out Egypt has been unsuccessfully struggling to ensure its domination over the Nile River via negotiations. Now they started to weaken Ethiopia by taking advantage of its internal differences in order to control the Nile River, Razana added.
I think the Egyptians have tried to intimidate Ethiopia in so many ways, and now they are, using our inside differences, political differences, and they are taking advantage of our weakness, and they want to control the Nile, so it's not fair. So,
mentioning the importance of a strong policy and political commitment to ensure the right to use its natural resources, the activist suggested Ethiopia to solve internal issues wisely and in time.
Without strong government position, the division inside is a big weapon for Egyptians. So they see that. That's why they are involved with these times. They saw the division, they saw the war, they saw, so many things anyway. So I think we don't have to be weak. Ethiopian people will have to be strong, and at the same time, the Ethiopian government have to be strong. Abai belongs to us, to Ethiopians. That's our resource. We don't have to wait Egyptians to decide how we use Abai. Abai belongs to us. So we have to have strong policy. We have to have strong political commitment. And it's good to solve this problem by peace.
Razana underscored Egypt has started to intimidate and take advantage of Ethiopia's internal differences when it failed to ensure its selfish interest of controlling the Nile River through negotiations.
Now moving to other news. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed held a discussion with business owners and scholars from the Tigray state living in Addis Ababa. The discussion focused on the current issues and the situation in Tigray, according to a tweet by the Premier. Rebuilding the Tigray region requires the concerted efforts of various actors, especially those from the region, he said. Welcome back. You're still watching Addis News Hour. IGAD has launched a milestone project to construct a regional cancer center of excellence in Addis Ababa. IGAD member states contributed an estimated value of $500 million to finalize the realization of the center to alleviate the negative impacts of cancer among its member states as well as on the continent. Habtam Ashadri reports.
Cancer is a group of over 100 diseases characterized by
Studies indicate cancer claims 1 in 6 deaths globally, killing more people than HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria combined. In 2020, World Health Organization reported that in 2018, there were an estimated 18 million new cases of cancer and 10 million deaths from cancer worldwide. Against this backdrop, the Inter-Governmental Authority Development launched a land-breaking project to construct the Regional Cancer Center of Excellence in Addis Ababa. Speaking on the occasion, Executive Secretary of IGAD, Workneh Gebeyehu, said the realization of the project helps to alleviate health complications due to cancer.
Cancer is a very serious issue that has not been getting sufficient attention. It is worrying that 60% of all cancer deaths occur in low and middle-income countries like our region. The WHO estimates that cancer deaths in sub-Saharan Africa will double in the next 20 years, that is 2014. If we do not intervene quickly, in the next 10 years, cancer rates will increase faster in Africa compared to any other region of the world.
According to the Executive Secretary, early detection is the instrument to prevent and control prevalence of cancer among IGAD member states as well as in the continent.
We must pool the few resources available to us to the first of all treat existing cases, and secondly, build the caregiving capacity we need to sustainably manage this disease in the future.
Wakena appreciates the role of the Deputy Mayor of Addis Ababa and Ethiopian Minister of Health as well as other development partners for providing their unprecedented support to commence this land-breaking project in Addis Ababa. Minister of Health Leah Taddese for her part said global efforts are critical to tackle the negative impact of cancer as cases are increasing alarmingly. She remarked for the efforts are critical to increase the number of oncology centers to alleviate the unconstructive impact of cancer in Ethiopia.
The cancer cases in Ethiopia are alarming non-communicable disease. Its effect is cause of psychological, social, economic and other problems. The WHO research shows cancer will affect 39 million people by 2040. Due to many reasons, this figure is expected to increase in sub-Saharan African countries in the future. Thus, the government is undertaking cancer protesting activities to alleviate the negative impacts of cancer. We are striving hard to expand the chemotherapy treatment centers across the country.
Addis Ababa Deputy Mayor Adanech Abebe on her part said the decision made by IGA to realize this project in Addis Ababa is a great move to all city residents to tackle the negative impact of cancer.
Diplomats are moving out of Addis Ababa to search better health service. For this reason, we are duty-bound to provide better health services like this one. We are prioritizing activities to make Addis Ababa as hub of health tourism by constructing quality health institutions. The expansion of cancer in Ethiopia is an alarming problem. We are also facing the shortage of foreign currency to send outdoor patients for better health services abroad. Thus, we have to change these dynamics by providing quality health services.
IGAD member states contribute an estimated value of $500 million to finalize the realization of the Center of Excellence to alleviate the negative impact of cancer among its member states as well as in the continent.
Now moving to continental news. A fire broke out Sunday on Table Mountain, the iconic peak overlooking the city of Cape Town on the tip of South Africa, and was contained but not out of the woods yet, according to latest reports. AFP reported the flames destroyed part of the restaurant next to a monument to British colonist Cecil Rhodes, which offers an exceptional view of the harbor, houses, and several buildings of the prestigious Cape Town University below, including the library. One firefighter was hospitalized with burns while his colleagues continued to fight the fire in the evening. Hundreds of students had left their residence on foot, walking along the main road to escape the smoke and find shelter, according to AFP journalists on the scene. Finally, a quick reminder of the top stories. Ministry says it is irrational to state GERD will affect 20 million people in Sudan. And IGAD launches milestone project for a regional cancer center of excellence in Addis Ababa. That's all we have time for in this edition. Thanks a lot for watching us.